Welcome back to Politics as Usual. We're here on True Executive Radio. I am Erick Wright, your host, to go through a few things that's been going on in the community, talk about it, and give it the black perspective or the overall perspective. We're starting these conversations in our community because it's well needed. It is well needed. So, without further ado, let's jump on in it. And I'm gonna start with something I learned the other day. I learned this the other day. Um, I was riding, I was listening to the radio, and I heard something, and I went back and researched it. So you guys know who Steve Hightower is? I know what you're thinking. You thinking Steve Harvey when the funk hits the fan. No, not that Steve Hightower. And it was actually great that they used that name. Steve Hightower is actually a guy that was born in Ohio, started as a janitor. He started as a janitor earlier in life, went to college and got out of college, and now he is a multi-millionaire of his own oil company. Now, this guy, Steve Hightower, says, I started as a janitor. I started cleaning floors and toilets and doing things that most people would never have dreamed of. Today, his wholesale diesel and gasoline company, Hightowers Petroleum, has 85 employees, sells 140 million gallons of oil per year. It buys oil products from refineries and delivers them to corporate customers such as FedEx and GM all over the country. It did about 350 million in 2015, hit a half a billion by 2017. So this guy is very, very successful. Steve Hightower. And if you ask Steve Hightower, he said, if you could tell any young black entrepreneur anything, what would you tell him? He said, the best piece of advice that I can ever give is what my father gave to me. As long as you're honest, as long as you don't try to beat anybody, as long as uh, as long as you do the right thing, you have the ability to be successful. I think that's the best advice I've had, and that's the best advice that I can give. So take it from Steve Hightower. Do the right thing. He said it. All right, let's go to the next topic. So we're in the South. We're in Montgomery, Alabama. I'm from Demopolis, Alabama. Small town. You blink too fast, you'll probably miss it. But it's a huge town with fish, water. And when I what I mean by that, the tunnel Big B goes through Demopolis, Alabama, the Black Warrior River, and all that connects to the Mississippi. So we got a lot of fresh water and a lot of freshwater fish. So this is what I wanted to talk to you about next. I've been seeing a lot of advisories from different states. I haven't seen one for a lot of southern states as of yet, which is confusing to me considering that Alabama has the most freshwater fish in the country. You can look that up. Alabama has the most and the most diverse species of fish anywhere in the country. So if everywhere else has advisory, fish consumption advisory, why haven't we seen it in the South? These are the things that we need to ask ourselves. But the problem with the and it's called PFAs. And PFA is an acronym for a very long word. It's called prophylactyl, prophylactyl substances. And these are deemed forever substance. Like you can't get rid of it. So manufacturing companies, um, different oil and tankers and things like that that pollutes our water is getting into our not only getting into our water system, it's also getting into our body by us eating the fish. So that's why we really be on people's ass about dumping stuff in the water and making sure we keep our water protected because if we eat the fish, then we also eat the substance. So other states such as North Carolina, Vermont, um, Michigan, other places like Wyoming, Wisconsin, anywhere you see a Great Lake, Ohio, all of these places have put out these fish consumption advisories. So make sure if you're fishing out here, don't matter where you're at, make sure you clean it good, make sure you cook it well, uh, make sure you take all the steps, and then make sure you wipe your counters, disinfect it, the whole nine, because we don't want to get sick and take some of these things into our body, and then we end up with cancer a few years later. So let's talk about that. Spread the word. It's called PFA fish. PFA. PFA fish for a very long word, prophylactic substances. So keep that in mind. So I got a quick PSA. Uh, Actually, some good news that's actually in Montgomery County. This is a PSA for voter registration. As of right now, there are 10 public libraries in Montgomery that has mobile kiosks for voter registration. You can go up to there and register to vote. Also, they have been installed in every college and every high school in Montgomery County. So make sure if your kids are voting age, if you are voting age, or you know somebody that needs to get registered to vote, they don't have a phone, a tablet, or access to the internet, they could just go to one of the 10 locations at the libraries and register to vote. Shout out to our probate judge, JC Love, for setting that up. He's a good guy. Okay, last topic that I want to talk about, and we're going to go to the military and discuss a couple things that goes on in the military. Whenever you serve and whenever you're in active duty and you get deployed, a lot of times you will be exposed to certain conditions that may cause health problems later on in life. Um, Now, if the military does not accept the responsibility that you had said exposure, you would go on through life with the sickness and whatever it was and have to deal with it. This has happened for a very long time. It happened during the Vietnam War, where Agent Orange was sprayed all over the jungle, and when the American troops walked through, they breathed it in and end up having all kind of respiratory problems and also problems with their arms, their legs, um, their bodies started to break down. We saw that. We saw in Afghanistan all the burning of the trash in Afghanistan, being there in the desert and burning the trash and the exposure that happened to all of the soldiers there. These are long tail claims, long tail things that may not affect you that day, but because of the exposure over time, it manifests itself. So, the Air Force is expanding a review on cancers for service members who worked with nuclear missiles. Now, the people in question are the pilots of the Navy E 2 Hawk radar plane, and this is equipped with a warhead or a missile that is nuclear. And over the years, many of them have become sick. Many of them have got cancer from this, and the military would like to step up and study this more and address these issues. So, shout out to the Air Force. We have a Air Force base here in Montgomery, so shout out to them for looking out for the soldiers that took on that duty and were exposed to those things. Because the previous things that I mentioned, like Agent Orange or the Afghanistan burning of the trash, a lot of those claims wasn't paid out until years later when the soldiers had already passed away and everything did go to their state. But it would be great if we respect our soldiers while they're still alive, It would be great if we make sure we protect them and support them when they come back from serving their country. Remember, if you can't see through the bullshit, it'll probably fool you. Keep your head on the swivel.